Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player. Good weekend all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your weekend update for this Friday, the 4th of August, and this is 2017. We're about 1:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, so there's more trading, but the settlement prices for gold is known, and it's going to be right through here. So you're looking very close in these metal markets as to where they actually settled. Remember, settlement price is determined at 12:30 Central Daylight Time, 1:30 Eastern. Then the market continues trading on to 4 o'clock p.m. Central Daylight Time. So it's a little strange, but it's the way it works. Also remember that on this particular video, I cover the longer term charts, and then through the week I cover the shorter term. Any charts you want me to cover on futures, if you write me about them, I'll take a look and see if they fit into what we want. We had somebody want lumber and OJ, and there's just no real following for it, so why waste our time on it? All right, let's take a look and see what's going on. In the gold market, you're just hovering on the monthly chart at the 18-month moving average of closes. There's no trend. There's no inkling as to what the momentum is going to do. It's just drifting sideways as prices are drifting sideways. You've got a couple of layers of resistance, but they're well above the market right now. They're here at the 100-day average at 1325.60, and you'd have to go way back up here into the 1356 area to get to the upper Bollinger Band. On a weekly area chart of closes now, the market has gone from 1287.40 to 1209.70, back up, got as high this week as 1273.30, and then dropped itself back down. So the overall thrust of the market is still one of a decline. You see on the chart when I just give you the weekly bar how this market's just been in waves moving up and down, literally between the 1295 area down to the 1205 area, just sitting back and forth in there. When I put the swing line on the chart, and that's what these numbers are. These are not the highs necessarily. You could have a swing line if you had an outside day that is underneath that high. But right now that's 1295 down to a low at 1204. We've bounced all the way up to 1273 on a weekly basis, and the market's giving something up finally. When we take a look at the weekly averages, the market is sitting here above the weekly average. Now, please keep in the back of your mind, weekly charts don't mean the weekly chart of December gold. There are continuation charts, so they're going to look if there's an August contract, if there were an active October or September. There aren't, but if there were, then it's going to look at the Ds to get up there. Weekly chart is a continuation chart, and the chart's got an upside bias since prices did close over the 18-week moving average of closes, but unfortunately, you still have that pattern of a higher high and a lower low. When you look at the Bollinger Bands, we've hit the lower Bollinger Band about a month or so ago. It's come back up, hasn't made an inkling that it wants to go to the upper Bollinger Band yet, just sort of sitting here in the support area. And momentum on the weekly chart, well, it's creeping to the upside. It's not pointing straight up the way that it did right here. It's bending a little, but it hasn't given up the upside momentum. So I'm going to say that the market still has upside momentum, upside bias. On the silver chart, you have the pattern of a higher high and a lower low. The resistance in the chart showed itself just as we thought it would last week. Last week you got up to the 100-week average, and if it extends, I'd look for the 18-week to be hit. It's exactly what occurred, and now momentum's starting to slow a little bit, but like the gold, hasn't really turned down. Unlike the gold, the market has a bias to the downside since it's under the 18-week moving average of closes. You need to really close back over 1686, and the market is out of a downtrend. This week's high was high enough to break that downtrend. So you're sort of in a transition period trying to figure out what next. The copper market has another strong performance. For the week, it's up about a penny. The market has still got upside momentum, upside bias. However, you're vulnerable now because you've got 2 weeks in a row certainly this week and last week, over the 18-week moving average of closes. When I come back to the week prior to that, you didn't do that. So 2 weeks over, probably getting ready to see something of a pullback into the Bollinger Band. In the platinum market, momentum is up, the trend is up, the bias is up. It hit its first objective, the 100-week average. If it can extend that, I'm going to be looking for then the 982.5 level, the upper Bollinger Band. In the palladium market, the market's in an uptrend. It is overbought, but still has that upside momentum. It made the higher high, and it looks like it's going to give a little bit of a weaker close this week. Didn't quite get up to what we wanted to see at the 908.40 level in the upper Bollinger Band. The market's running out of some steam against the palladium market. In the dollar index, week after week, we've had this market just riding that lower Bollinger Band. It has not, on the weekly charts, given up any of this momentum. For the week, the market is up 29 points. Not a very stellar performer. For the day, it's a great performer, but not on a weekly basis. In fact, on the day, you can see you're up 70 points alone today, and that's a pretty strong day in that market. So the jobs data today came into play, and for a market into play, what it basically did and why it hurt the gold to a degree, it was one of those Goldilocks reports. It's why the stock market has been basically quiet to the upside. It said that inflation in terms of wages up a fraction to about 2.5% year over year. Certainly not the kind of inflation you need to get that money rolling into the economy, but it's also not falling. It's not back down to that 1.3%. The jobs growth is there. We added over 200,000 jobs instead of the 180. The problem with those jobs, in part, for the younger people in the service industry primarily, not manufacturing or other areas. So the market's looking at all that, trying to figure out where to go. On the energies, you've got an OPEC meeting about compliance coming up. They're not going to walk out of that meeting with anything bearish that people aren't going to comply. So you're getting a bit of a bid going into that for next week. I want to remind you of one of the tools that I so often use, and it's called a pivot point. And I've made 2 videos for you. The first video I do is in a way that you can look at PowerPoints that I make, and I explain how this works. I use the formula that is so typical on it, and I use what's called a 5-point system. Now, if you're an FX trader, some people go to, instead of 2 buys, 2 sells above the market, they go to 3 and 3. So you get what's called a 7-point system. But you look at it this way. You got a neutral number. You're trying to buy these breaks down into the blue to either get back up from the lower blue to this one, and from this one back to the center line, or selling the top lines, flip-flopping the other way. It's a very, very popular technique. It's fully explained in the videos that you can call us for. You can go to our website to sign up. You can click up here at any time if you're watching me on YouTube, and or underneath us on many websites says click here for Ira's free offers. Do so and we'll get it right out to you. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. I'll see you all come Monday. Take care now.